The day began with no warning for the people of Earth who lived their ordinary lives beneath the vast unbroken sky, unaware of the black storm rising beyond their vision, for above the atmosphere in the silent void of space the alien Armada drifted forward like a tidal wave of metal and wrath, each ship a fortress brimming with weapons that could melt continents and break the bones of planets. Yet humanity was not afraid, because humanity did not know, because the first to see them were the old satellites, the forgotten machines that whispered warnings to empty servers until the first defense systems blinked awake, and the world was forced to see what had come for them, what had come to claim their world without mercy, without parley, without hesitation. Humanity did not bow, humanity did not beg. Instead, the world rose as one great voice, speaking in the language of survival for every nation, every soldier, every forgotten engineer reached for weapons both ancient and new, calling forth the fury of centuries past and the cold brilliance of minds sharpened by war and necessity. And so the skies filled with fire as the alien ships descended, expecting terror, but finding fury, expecting surrender, but finding resistance, and above it all the voice of Earth awoke through radio, through signal, through the defiant cry of millions who would not go quietly into the abyss. The battle began at the rim of the atmosphere, where the alien vanguard met the shields of Earth, bristling with weapons grown in secret labs buried deep beneath mountains and oceans, weapons crafted not for conquest, but for survival. For humanity had known that one day something would come, and so the first shots were fired not in fear, but in grim resolve, as Earth unleashed its hidden teeth, raking the alien ships with beams that cut like knives and missiles that burned hotter than stars. And though the alien ships were mighty, they were unprepared for a species that fought not for glory, not for expansion, but for home. As the battle raged above, the cities of Earth transformed their lights, dimming their streets, emptying their towers, folding into steel and armor. For humanity had prepared not just in weapons, but in will, turning homes into bunkers, turning factories into forges of death, building railguns into mountains, turning rivers into traps and skies into firestorms. So when the alien ships broke through the first line, they found a world that would not be taken easily. They found a world that was a weapon unto itself, a world that would bleed them dry before surrender. For weeks the sun was hidden behind the wreckage of war, the sky thick with ash and burning metal, as the alien fleet pressed its attack, raining fire upon the surface of Earth, but finding only more resistance, only more defiance, as human forces struck back again and again, refusing to break, refusing to bow. And in the dark the people of Earth whispered stories of the battles fought in silence, of heroes who stood alone on burning ground, of ships that rammed into alien titans, tearing them apart with nothing but sheer will. The aliens had come expecting conquest, they found annihilation. For every ship they lost, every commander they failed to protect, drained their strength and emboldened the defenders of Earth, until the balance shifted, until humanity became the hunter, moving through space like wolves through the night, silent and deadly. For Earth had learned its enemy, had taken their technology, had broken their code, had turned their own weapons against them. And so the tide turned, and the alien Armada began to fracture. In the heart of the alien fleet there was a ship larger than cities, stronger than mountains, the command ship, the heart of their invasion. And it was there that humanity struck with every weapon they could bring, every sacrifice they could make, sending their finest warriors, their greatest minds, to breach its walls, to tear down its shields. And with a final scream that echoed through every channel, through every burning sky, the great ship fell, breaking apart in a death cry that shook the stars themselves. With their hearts shattered, with their leaders dead, the alien fleet began to retreat, to flee from the world they had thought to conquer. But humanity did not relent. Humanity gave no quarter, chasing them into the black of space, striking them down ship by ship, tearing them apart until the stars were littered with their bones, until only a few shattered remnants limped away, carrying with them the story of a world they could not break, a world they would never forget. The world was quiet then, quiet, but not peaceful, for the scars of battle ran deep, the cities burned, the oceans boiled, the mountains shattered. Yet humanity remained unbroken, standing amid the ruins, stronger than before, with eyes turned now to the stars, no longer fearing them no longer blind to what lay beyond, for Earth had survived, Earth had endured, and Earth would never again be caught unaware. They built monuments not of marble, but of metal taken from the wrecks of alien ships, forged into towers that reached toward the sky, carved with the names of those who had fallen, etched with the words never again, never forgotten. And though the skies were clear, though the sun shone once more, the world would never forget what it had faced, what it had overcome. Humanity changed in the aftermath, for now there were fleets above the world, not of invaders, but of guardian ships, built not just for defense, but for exploration, for understanding, for reaching beyond the limits of what was known. For Earth had become a world not just of survivors, but of seekers ready to face whatever came next with courage forged in the fires of their darkest days. And so the story spread, carried on the lips of those few alien survivors who fled into the depths of space, warning others of the blue world, the terrible world, the impossible world that could not be conquered, the world that stood when all logic said it should fall, the world that fought not for power, not for domination, but for the simple unbreakable truth that it would never kneel, that it would never surrender, that it was Earth and that was enough. But the story did not end there, for deep in the void where lost ships drifted and forgotten beacons still whispered, there were others who listened, others who wondered if the story was true. And so the echoes of war traveled further than the ships that escaped, further than the stars humanity could see, and on Earth beneath a sky finally clear, the people watched the horizon, knowing one day the stars would stir again, knowing one day the silence would break, and when that day came, Earth would be ready, its people would rise, its defenders would stand, for this was their world, their home, their future, and they would never be taken by force again.